The suspect actually got out of the car and tried to run away, but was taken into custody and sent to a hospital.
7 News' Adam Longo, no word yet on charges.
The suspect actually got out of the car and tried to run away.
Pro-Palestinian demonstrators wearing caps and gowns were escorted by U.S. Park Police out of the George Washington University commencement ceremony on the Mall Sunday after disrupting the event with chanting. But that was not the end of the issue. This graduate, Cecilia Culver, was one of the speakers. She devoted most of her time to the cause.
None of us are free until Palestine is free. Thank you.
The university calls the protest a violation of the school's code of conduct. Local restaurant owners were up in arms when federal ICE agents visited their restaurants looking to verify their employees' work status. But one owner is advising them to chill.
They simply handed over a request for information related to I-9s and employee files.
Mark Bucher owns Medium Rare, and while not visited by agents during the most recent rounds, he's well aware of what did happen, and
the requirement to have these files is nothing new.
Bucher compares these visits to
things like sales tax audits, payroll withholding audits, income tax. There's always an auditing trail and ability of the federal government.
Adding it's business as usual.
It's good. Times are good. Sales are good. Business is good. Employees are good.
Scott Lynn on WMAL and WMAL.com.
The 3-week-long World Pride event is now underway in D.C. with some reports of smaller than expected crowds of participants due in part to politics and the economy. But don't let them hear you say that in the Arlington County government.
We are all in.
Cynthia Torres is Arlington's Race and Equity Programs Manager.
Inclusivity is truly a core county value. It's something inherent in what we do on a daily basis, how we operate.
And she says the county has more than 30 events tied to World Pride that'll be hosted over the next 3 weeks, including in Arlington's restaurants and hotels. The Loudoun County Board of Supervisors studying tiny homes as a possible solution to the lack of affordable housing.
It does sound interesting.
Fucking starlings.
I bought what I thought was a tiny home, the first home I ever bought in Percival. It was 1,200 square feet. I thought it was tiny. 600, less than 600. That's going to be really tiny.
Supervisor Caleb Kirshner supporting the study. Chair Phyllis Randall says it can be a viable option for two groups,
especially seniors. A tiny home community work was something that they were really interested in,
as well as college grads. Recent data shows the median home price in Loudoun County is $750,000. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore defending his decision to veto a possible reparations study.
That measure would have defined economic harm to descendants of enslaved people and recommended possible remedies. But Governor Moore says now is not the time for another study, but rather the time for action. He says he plans to introduce policies focused on narrowing the racial wealth gap and expanding home ownership. Maryland's Black Caucus say they are disappointed with the governor's decision and say the bill was passed with veto-proof majority and the legislature will have the final say.
7 News' Adriana Hopkins. Dow futures down 232. NASDAQ futures down 300. Traffic and weather next.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Northbound 95, late delays coming out of Newington, and this is to merge onto the inner loop of the Beltway. Crash up ahead before Braddock Road has all been cleared to the shoulder. This is about recovering now. Alexandria, the George Washington Parkway shut down each direction between Bellevue Boulevard and Morningside Lane for storm damage cleanup. Annapolis, residual delays, westbound inbound 50 after 450. The crash on the Severn River Bridge cleared, but major tie-ups. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
A beautiful and warm afternoon continues with breezy conditions, mid-70s to around 80, mainly clear and chilly overnight. Tomorrow, clouds increase, widespread rain late tomorrow night, heavy at times on Wednesday. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
66 in Washington. John Matthews, News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Chris Plant.
According to a new tell-all book, Biden's inner circle revealed that they were worried the president would need a wheelchair in his second term, especially after they were all done stabbing him in the back.
Little fun, Julius Caesar stabbing him in the back humor. Late at night, it was an attempt anyway. Might need a wheelchair. And now, what did we learn about Joe Biden? Well, a lot. Learned a lot about Joe Biden over the weekend. And I was out a couple days the end of last week as well. I had a lot going on. What do you got coming on? And one of my brothers visiting our nation's capital and stayed with us. And we had a lot to do. We had lots of things. I did take a couple of days off. Very unusual. And I was just looking at our stories sheet here this morning. It's the shortest, most incomplete story sheet I think I've ever seen. I need to get to work. Give me a break here, Michael. I'm going to come back in a couple of minutes with a bunch more stuff. It is a short story sheet, but that doesn't mean there isn't a lot to talk about, because there is a lot to talk about. And not only just your normal weekend Democrat Party stuff, we had another Democrat Party suicide attack. Another Democrat suicide. They're like Al-Qaeda. You think they're more like Al-Qaeda or they're old boys from the KKK? What are they more like? I think they're more ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Democrat Party is today. All the Democrats, they're another suicide attack. This is at an in vitro fertilization clinic in Palm Springs, California. Beautiful Palm Springs, California, out in the desert. And I haven't been there in a long time, but real nice place. And he blowed himself up. Is that the correct pronunciation? He blowed himself up in a vehicle at an in vitro fertilization clinic, killed himself. He's killed. And he set himself on fire and blew himself. You see the car blown in half and the whole thing. He's a Democrat. And it turns out the FBI came out and they said that he had, now he's dead, so he doesn't have anything. But what he had nihilistic ideations. Nihilistic ideations. Wow, that's a 50-cent term, isn't it? Yeah, nihilistic ideations is what he's all about, and it's what he was all about. Now he's all about toast. He's about boom, toast, all that stuff. So, but it's quite amazing. Another suicide attack, another self-immolation, and the guy, well, I have to keep doing past tense. Anti-life. He's anti-life, which is perfectly normal Democrat stuff, and doesn't like humanity. Perfectly normal Democrat Party talking point. He hadn't, his father, guy's got a father, I think he's 25 years old, the self-immolating suicide bomber, 25 years old. And his father, he's got a father, and his father said that even though he's 25 years old, he had not spoken to his son in at least 10 years. That's a long time for a 25-year-old son. The family that self-immolates together. The Democrat Party, his name is Guy Edward I keep saying present tense. The guy's name was Guy Edward Bartkus. He's reminds me of the Roman Empire, doesn't it? Bartkus. But Guy, maybe it's Guy. Maybe he wants to be French. Could be Guy. It's G-U-I. Guy Edward Bartkus, and he blew himself up. And blew up an in vitro fertilization clinic because of his nihilistic ideations. And you can say nihilistic if you prefer. It's either. I can say either rather than either. But nihilistic ideations, and he blowed himself up real good, and now he's dead because he hates human life, and he doesn't like anything about Earth, and now that's all taken care of. Several other people were injured in his suicide attack, but no one else killed. He was the only one killed, K-I-L-T. That's so I've got updates for you on that. Things weren't going very well for him.
but now he is, just amazing. Also, speaking of free speech being under assault by the left everywhere, and we had J.D. Vance talk about this when he was at the Munich Defense Conference months ago, and we played the audio for you at the time. The Democrats were very angry because they're really dumb, and they don't know what's going on in the world anywhere. But there is a kind of amazing story that popped over the weekend. A Swiss writer, you can call him a journalist, you can call him a writer, and that'd be in Switzerland, very nice country, petite, one of those petite countries, very small. And a Swiss writer who called a journalist a fat lesbian, has been sentenced to prison for calling her a fat lesbian. And what about Rosie O'Donnell? Does Rosie O'Donnell, she went to Switzerland, would she have to check into prison because of Rosie O'Donnell? But maybe it's, if you're describing someone else, it's jailable. It's an imprisonable offense. But if you're talking about yourself, like Rosie O'Donnell, maybe it's okay.
Rosie, big, fat, lesbian, loud Rosie.
See, and this Swiss writer, and I've admitted, the New York Post has the story. The Washington Post doesn't defend free speech. The New York Times, they don't defend free speech. Western civilization is under assault. I've been talking about this for a long time now. The Enlightenment is under assault by the left, and free speech very much under assault. But the good people at the New York Post had the story. Swiss writer who called a journalist a fat lesbian, sentenced to 60 days in prison. Completely nutty. And that's free speech being under assault, isn't it? Yes, it is. Certainly is. I haven't even gotten to what might be the big story of the day, and that is Joe Biden, Joseph Robinette Biden, not the smartest man in the world. And it turns out that he has prostate cancer. And it's kind of interesting because it's... the patriarchy is doing prayer. Didn't he have a moonshot to cure cancer? I don't remember. He campaigned on that, and then I don't remember that coming up for 4 years. I don't remember a single thing, not a finger lifted on that whole curing cancer thing. But Joe Biden has been diagnosed, the former president of the United States, Robinette is his middle name, like a little robin, been diagnosed thanks to the patriarchy and the American medical system, which they tried to destroy with Obamacare. Prostate cancer, he's been diagnosed, and it looks like his survival rate should be very good thanks to the patriarchy and the United States of America, the greatest country ever in the history of the world. And so we've got and big pharma, which they hate. Isn't that funny? The Democrats, they hate big pharma. That's what they call it. Anything they call big, they hate. Big pharma, big medicine, big business, big banks, big anything that's big, they hate. And they hate almost everything because they're mentally ill and they have gender dysphoria. But that's just another story that will probably enter into today's discussion as well. Prostate cancer, and it's an aggressive form of prostate cancer. It has metastasized into the bone, which might indicate that he's had it for a long time, and that maybe NIH, which takes care of National Institutes of Health, takes care, preside over the health of the president of the United States. And it turns out that he may have had it for years, and they might have lied to us about it. They could have just lied and lied and lied to us about it because they lie to us about everything, about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and also everybody. And as soon as we found out, Michael Piercy and I and Kevin Tober and Randy Lefebvre, we were texting back and forth on our text thread, and we all expressed our sadness and sorrow, and it was authentic. And then I made a joke or two, but it was authentic because I wish the old creep no actual harm. Although Tara Reid weighed in on this, and she may wish him harm. She used to work for him on Capitol Hill and was sexually assaulted by him, and then the New York Times and CNN swept that under the rug because they're not in the news business at all. They're frauds and charlatans and not journalists at all. But I digress. So the cancer, which is it's bad, prostate cancer, and they say it's stage 4, which is not good. And you'd think that as president of the United States, until a couple of months ago, maybe this would have been caught more early on, would have been caught earlier before it metastasized to the bone. And they're saying that hormone therapy developed by the patriarchy and the big pharmaceutical companies will likely save him, and that the survival rate for prostate cancer, I guess even at stage 4, but that may be a trick part of the question here. The survival rate of up to 5 years, you'll survive 5 years after being diagnosed. Survival rate is 98%. 98%, which is not bad. You know, you're welcome. Just go ahead and thank the patriarchy and the big pharmaceutical companies, because even though you're hostile to everyone around you, they'll still save you because these people are so much better than you are if you're a leftist lunatic. So we've got those things going on. Oh, yeah, by the way, P. Diddy, P. Diddy trial. What do we know about P. Diddy? Well, he's a Democrat. That's what we know about P. Diddy. He's, a sexual predator and a creep and a billionaire. He's a billionaire, right? Everybody's a billionaire. All these leftist mental cases are. He should transition and become a woman. And then he can go to a ladies' prison where he can continue to be sexually abusing women. Don't you think? And apparently he was sexually abusing boys too, right? Yeah. You know why? He's a Democrat, because he's a Democrat and they all have these issues. Isn't that amazing? In the meantime, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, who converted to Catholicism some time ago, and Marco Rubio, who was born to Catholicism, lucky Marco Rubio, born to Catholicism, had a meeting with Pope Leo XIV at the Vatican. And they weren't talking about P. Diddy, and they weren't talking about suicide attacks at the Palm Spring in vitro fertilization clinic and all that. But the Democrats, I'm telling you, they are these people. They're truly something. And have I mentioned, I don't think I have, that we continue to be reachable at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. We've got that for you. And isn't that wonderful? Yes, it is. We've got a great many stories to get to, and it's from the suicide bombers to metastasizing prostate cancer, which was doubtless learned about years ago, and then they lie. How could it be stage 4 and metastasized to the bone? He was the president just a few months ago, and how does that happen? And it's funny. I was texting with my friend Marty yesterday, and he's like, call me a cynic, but I can't help but think that maybe they knew about this a long time ago, and they just didn't let on because, what with the campaign and we had all kinds of stuff, presidential race, and how long ago did they actually find out about this? And we've grown so accustomed to our government lying to us that just extraordinary stuff. Also, big Democrats in New Orleans. You see, 10 Democrats broke out of jail there, and apparently they did it with the help of some Democrats working at the jail. 3 have been suspended. They get a sentence. 3 Democrats working at the jail in New Orleans. They had a jailbreak of 10, including murderers and attempted murderers. And so they're failed murderers. They wanted to be murderers, but they're not very good at anything. So all I wanted to do is murder somebody, and I even failed at that. Can you imagine being that guy? That'd be a bit. But they broke out of jail. You see the video of them breaking out of jail and running away. Looked like they're having a nice time. 7 of them are still on the loose. And, I think shoot to kill orders is like, it looked like a bad movie, but that's because Democrats, really, when you come right down to it. So we've got that. 3 have been caught, 7 are still on the loose. And they're thinking maybe they're headed for Texas to head to the Mexico border. And I got to tell you, if we have these jailbreaking murders and attempted murders, if they sneaked into Mexico, that'd be just desserts, wouldn't it? That'd be kind of entertaining in its own way. Sure hope they don't murder any mothers of 5 or nursing students or anything like that when they get to Mexico. The 7 escapees. The sheriff. Did the sheriff say they're all Democrats? Not technically. Maybe he didn't technically say it exactly like that, but you can see. That's good stuff. So we got a bunch coming up, and we're at 888-630-9625. You know that the all-new 3rd-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is finally available to all of us. And the third generation builds on the incredible success of the previous generations, and those earned thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, bestseller in no time. This new Eden Pure Thunderstorm uses 2 different technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air that you breathe at home, at the office. It also removes dust and pet stuff and smoke and a whole lot more from the air that you breathe. And it gets rid of any stinky odor with no filters to buy and replace over and over again. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell guaranteed. Talking about trash cans and cigarette smoke and left-wing protesters, musty basements, and more. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Right now, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. So you put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com on Al Gore's Amazing Internet. Use the discount code Chris3. That's me and the number 3 to save $200 on 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Chris3. Yes, sir. All right, a lot of news, as you can tell. President Trump, we've got, the good, the bad, and the ugly for you today on the Chris Plant Show.
There's only one Chris Plant. The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. Arlington, crash activity on South 4 Mile Run Drive as you come up the South Walter Reed Drive, follow police direction. Inner loop of the Beltway, the crash before Braddock Road over to the shoulder. Residual delays merging off of northbound 95. Annapolis, the original accidents that caused the big delays westbound inbound 50 after 450 have been cleared. Jam back at the Bay Bridge. Now we have an accident reported within the delays near Cape St. Clair Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Sunny and breezy today with a high of 78, mostly clear overnight, low 52.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
No weakness here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jane Moore, you found the right place. Have you always had a large personality? The nicest way anybody's ever put it. You always warn people out. From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful. and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish@wish.org.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There are countless ways to practice gratitude, something that's been shown to have significant health benefits. But this is one I hadn't thought of before, or at least I've never done it myself. A colleague of mine told me that she started sending a monthly postcard to a family member or friend, not for the birthday or a holiday, just to tell them how thankful she is that they are in her life. Pretty nice idea, right? She talked to a few psychologists about it who said people might be more expressive with their appreciation in postcards, and they use more meaningful and descriptive language than they would even in face-to-face interactions. And I'll let you in on one of my favorite expressions, which is, I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have the time. That means take some time, write from the heart, doesn't need to be long, but just keep in mind all the joy that that note is likely to bring. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, millions of kids don't have the supplies they need. Donor Shoes is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. Learn more at DonorShoes.org.
Making sense of your money.
The state of the economy, the ability to afford your life. That's what people want.
WMAL's Vince Coglianese, weekdays at noon.
The kind of thing I pay attention to, I'm looking at.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
WMAL, making sense of party politics, because somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Yes. All right, let us go to the telephones and talk to the great American people. I've also got a racist, anti-Semite, Jew hater at George Washington University giving a speech at graduation yesterday, and then the Hamas people were celebrated. I think they were hanging Israelis behind the stage. The Democrats have really done a job on our country. Right now, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Jack, calling from the once great state of California. Jack, you're on the Chris Plank Show.
Well, Chris, I just learned you went to college in the great state of California. So,
I did some imitation of that. Santa Barbara City College, primarily.
well, did you have fun? Santa Barbara is known for a lot of fun there.
I had a great time.
Of course you did. Hey,
Yeah.
So I want to update you. Look what's going on in California. First of all, you have the Palm Springs bombing, which you talked about. All week long, they're fighting to get the Menendez brothers, who literally killed their parents. So that's the big issue. We don't have homeless. We don't have any other problems. We don't have a budget, with Gavin Newsom out $100 billion loss. We used to have a surplus. No, we're worried about the Menendez brothers getting out. But then there was another story about Adam Schiff and his big mortgage problems. His mortgage fraud is double the problems that Letitia James. They put a Letitia James statue up in New York, Times Square. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, she looks sturdy.
Exactly the same. But you mentioned free speech, and that's what I want to close with. But they were talking all at the end of last week about Chuck Schumer had a plan B. And I just went online. Do you know where Chuck Schumer was the moment Trump was shot?
Where?
It's in the New York Times article. I just read it.
I'm right out of time.
On July the 13th of last year was sitting with Joe Biden, right coincidentally at the moment Trump was shot.
Wow.
This is the Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. Crash on the Virginia Beltway interloop near Braddock Road. That's been cleared to the shoulder. Still have a bit of volume leaving 95 heading through Annandale. No late problems on 270, but we are jammed on the spur to join the outer loop of the Beltway. Tough ride into Annapolis continues. The original crash, westbound 50 over the Severn River Bridge, that's been cleared, but it caused big delays coming off the Bay Bridge. Crash in the backups near Rao Boulevard. They just cleared that to the shoulder. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Sunny and breezy today with a high of 78, mostly clear overnight, low 52.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
For a local news source you can trust, visit WMAL.com.
Thank God for that.
Get the day's top stories, stream your favorite WMAL shows, access our podcast archives, and more. WMAL.com, making sense of your world online.
My baby brother, a father.
Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
Searching for an inside look at the people, stories, and passion that fuel the state of soccer in America? The United States Soccer Federation will be launching the all-new U.S. Soccer Podcast. Episodes will go beyond the field with players, coaches, and legends to bring you honest conversations and untold stories. This is where soccer will come to life. The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platforms.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions. Like, what's next? What does my future hold? The thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
No, you don't need to buy oversized pants if you want to earn more money. Just listen to Bigger Pockets.
Because it's really just kind of a little bit of a cheat code.
The money-making podcast that has something for everyone. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Every time I feel my baby kick, I sing. You don't understand. I never sing. I'm not good at singing. I'm the only person I know who's been booed off a karaoke stage. But that was before I was pregnant. Today, I'm a singer. For the captive audience of one. She doesn't boo me. She never will.
We know how it feels. We're the March of Dimes. Find out how we can help you have a healthier baby at marchofdimesbaby.org.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
WMAL, making sense of the economy, because it's your money and your retirement. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Hey, we're back. Thank you, Jack. We ran out the clock on that one. But Jack got in his story, New York Times publishing that Chuck Schumer, self-loathing swine that he is, was actually sitting with Joe Biden when Donald Trump was shot through the ear in Butler, Pennsylvania. And just a coincidence, I'm sure. Chuck Schumer was also out pretending to be Jewish in New York yesterday, doing a bad job. But pro-Israel people took the streets yesterday. I don't think there was no looting, there was no firebombing, because they're all mentally healthy, normal people who appreciate civilization. The left, on the other hand, they're not on the side of good. They're on the side of evil. They're not on the side of God. They love the after-school Satan club for the kids. But there was a graduation, a lot of graduations going on across the country. And in Washington, D.C., we have a lot of colleges. So yesterday and day before yesterday, Georgetown University clogging up that whole part of the city big time. But nice to see the people with their mortar boards walking around happy with their parents, and their parents can stop paying for at least this part of it. Hey, well, I've decided I need 2 master's degrees. But the graduation at the George Washington University, where the Democrats literally want to take down the bust of George Washington at George Washington University, because they teach anti-Americanism, anti-Westernism, anti-Enlightenment brainwashing. But there was a graduation ceremony there, and I want to share a little bit of it with you because it's all about the Democrat Party. And Democrat Party, there, I've said many times before, the Democrat Party, I'd like to talk to RFK Jr. about this, because I believe that the Democrat Party today is closer on the political spectrum, not to John F. Kennedy, who was shot in the head by Lee Harvey Oswald, but they're closer on the political spectrum to Lee Harvey Oswald, a communist who allegedly shot John F. Kennedy in the head and killed him, Dealey Plaza, Dallas, Texas, November 22nd, 1963. But that's not important. And I've also said many times that the Democrat Party today is closer on the political spectrum to Sirhan Sirhan than they are to Robert F. Kennedy, the senior, who was shot in the head at the Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles, California, night of the California primary in 1968. And Sirhan Sirhan was actually granted parole in California by the parole board several years ago now. But Gavin Newsom hasn't signed the paper to make it official and let him out, even though the parole board has given Sirhan Sirhan parole. They've granted him parole. Isn't that amazing? These people. And Tim Walz, the man who would be vice president, he's out there calling everybody Nazis and Gestapo again, which is a little ironic given the fact that they're firebombing. They firebombed the home of Jewish governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, with Molotov cocktails, a Democrat did, hoping to burn to death the Jewish governor and his Jewish family during Passover. The Seder dinner was over with, and a Democrat came in with firebombs and firebombed the sleeping Jewish governor and his sleeping Jewish family and their sleeping Jewish governor's mansion. Is that okay to call it the sleeping Jewish? Because pretty amazing stuff. But and then you go out and call everybody Nazis by your firebombing Teslas and all this. But let me go to this. A student at the George Washington University, which I believe is the most expensive university in the United States of America. I've heard that reported. I've seen it reported. And a young woman, as far as we can tell, named Cecilia Culver, apparently not Jewish. And the Economic Times has a story. Who is Cecilia Culver? Why is her speech sparking debates? It's not really debates. It should just be condemnation. And pretty amazing stuff. So Cecilia Culver, a George Washington University graduate, delivered a controversial speech criticizing Israeli actions in Gaza. Because if you want to exterminate the Jewish people and the Jewish state, and there's only one Jewish state, then the Democrat Party wants to date you, and that's a euphemism. They want you to date their daughters, and that's a euphemism too. But the speech criticizing Israeli actions in Gaza sparking debate over university funding and free speech. I think, the fact that taxpayers are funding these universities that charge $80,000 per student per year, and they have more real estate holdings than, the nation's bank. Honestly, they shouldn't be getting taxpayer money. You should be self-funding. Her condemnation of the military action, that's the Israeli military action, not Hamas's military action, and call for divestment, that's that DEI stuff. And divestment ignited both support and concern. The university has initiated a review amidst a national conversation. They always like to call it a national conversation. The Democrats are firebombing the Jews, and conservatives are having a conversation about why the Democrats are firebombing the Jews. That's the only national conversation going on. About campus protests and federal regulations, highlighting the power of student voices. So here is this woman, nearly 4-minute long speech, George Washington University graduate, on the Israeli strikes in Gaza. Release the dead bodies of the hostages that you kidnapped, raped, and murdered. And then maybe we can have a conversation about you guys being the victims in this. You're a genocidal terrorist death cult. But never mind that. The Democrat Party, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And now you got to divest and boycott and sanction. It's boycott, divest, and BDS, which used to just be them engaging in bondage, and discipline with whips and things like that. But now they're sicker than that. Just amazing stuff. So 4-minute speech, George Washington University, Israeli strikes in Gaza. Sharply contrasts with the stand taken by U.S. President Donald Trump on the issue, and it has sparked a massive debate on the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Cecilia Culver, an economics and statistics graduate. I want everyone to know her name. No one should ever hire her for anything. What is she? All right, Cecilia, let's do a little math test. All right, 2,000 members of Hamas kidnapped 1,200 Israelis and rape and murder them over the course of 6 months. How long did it take to kill? How many were killed each day? Cecilia, let's see if your econ skills are gonna just amazing stuff. But I would give her a math test, and I'm sorry, I don't hire the Gestapo, I don't hire the Nazis. Amazing stuff. So here is Cecilia Culver, who no one should hire ever in her life to do anything, anywhere. And if you do, then you're a fascist. But never mind that. Cecilia Culver, George Washington University, like $80,000 a year for us students. And she got her degree. She got an award there, the CCAS Distinguished Scholar Award. And she also got a Federal Reserve Excellence Award. And she got an internship. And this is Cecilia Culver. Was she wearing, I didn't watch the video, I just listened to, was she wearing an armband of any kind with a twisted cross? Did she have like a tall hat, hobnailed boots? I saw a riding crop slapping her leg. Cecilia Culver.
For over a year, we have watched a genocide be committed against Palestinians.
Woo! Listen to them go wild. That's what we've watched. Not the kidnapping, rape, and murder of people for being Jewish by a radical Islamic terrorist group. That's not what we...
I cannot celebrate my own graduation without a heavy
That's good.
heart, knowing how many students in Palestine have been forced to stop their studies, expelled from their homes, and killed for simply remaining in the country of their ancestors.
Listen to the crowd. It's Munich in 33. They ended the ceremony by all singing Deutschland, Deutschland über alles together. I thought that was kind of unusual, didn't you? That was weird. She was very concerned about the students who took a break from their schoolwork to rape, torture, and murder people for being Jewish. Yee! And listen to the crowd. This is what's happened at American college campuses. It is Munich 33. These people are not on the side of civilization. They've been brainwashed and indoctrinated by professional leftists who are not liberal at all, not even close. Isn't that amazing? And they're just loving the death. They love the death. It's a death cult. It's the Democrat Party. Cecilia Culver.
The horrors unfolding halfway across the world may be easy to ignore for those lacking a moral backbone. For the rest of us...
Yeah, you've got a moral backbone.
For the rest of us, these atrocities cause us to take stock in our own complacency in the imperialist system.
Imperialist system!
I am ashamed to know my tuition is being used to fund genocide. I'm going to say that again. I am ashamed to know my tuition is being used to fund this genocide.
Their ancestors. The Jews have been there for 4,000 years. See the Temple of Solomon. I got to tell you, she ought to be gassed, don't you think? Gassed? That's, I don't really, maybe just tear gas. Just maybe bring in those trucks that fire the gas like out of a fire cannon on the water cannon on the roof. The imperialist system. Yeah, and we've got to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel and support a literal genocidal terror group that is still holding hostages, including the hostages of people they've already murdered. And they're still holding the dead bodies of the people they kidnapped, raped, and murdered. And Cecilia has been so brainwashed that she's on the side of the Nazis, of the murderers here, of the genocidal Jew-hating lunatics, and, you know, their imperial system, the Jews, their imperial system. Yeah. And she can't believe that. She's ashamed, she said, that her tuition is funding genocide. But you think they're funding Hamas and the Democrats? I guess they are funding the Democrats, aren't they? Isn't that amazing? The Democrat Party has done this to Cecilia Culver.
Every year, the cost of attending this university increases without a corresponding improvement in the facilities and resources provided to students, staff, and faculty. Instead, our money is put into the pockets of those who unequivocally prove time and time again they do not care about the students and faculty that create this university's prestigious university.
This university's prestigious university? She's got a 4.0
Despite
GPA.
repeated calls from students and faculty to disclose all endowments and investments by the university and divest from the apartheid state of Israel, the administration has refused to negotiate in good faith.
The apartheid state of Israel. You know what they would do to her, given half a chance? I'd actually like to, Cecilia, I'd like to offer you the opportunity. I would like to offer you the opportunity to travel to Gaza and, probably die in a tunnel underground after a horrific extended period of time in the custody of Hamas, a radical Islamic jihadi terrorist, genocidal death cult, actual genocide, as opposed to the fictional genocide that the Democrat Party teaches. Cecilia, that's Cecilia with a C, and Culver with a C also. Ceciliaculver, Cecilia Culver. And she did great at their parent center to a very expensive school. And no one should ever hire her in the history of the world. She should never work. She should be driving her mom's car for Uber for the rest of her life. Cecilia Culver.
I call upon the class of 2025 to withhold donations and continue advocating for disclosure and divestment.
Don't donate. You don't have any money. To the school, to the university, your parents just gave them like $300,000. And
none of us are free until Palestine is free. Thank you.
None of us are free until Palestine. And listen to the crowd. Really better. What's the old line? Better in its original German. Aren't they amazing? In Washington, D.C., America's capital, one of, if not the most expensive university in the country. And then the hobnailed, boot-wearing, goose-stepping lunatics, a bunch of protesters had to be dragged out by the police who they want to defund and who they call the Gestapo.
I want students to be free. state brutality! All our students must be free! All our students must be free! And the state brutality!
I'd break out the tear gas. Tear gas and nightsticks. I'd deliver them to Gaza. You guys should bring sandwiches. Bring them a bunch of ham sandwiches. See how that goes. Good. And then they love ham sandwiches. The Gaza people. That's great. Wait till you hear the governor of Minnesota. I've got him coming up for you as well. You know that when a mother with an unplanned pregnancy is deciding what to do about the future for herself and for her unborn child, it's kind of overwhelming for a lot of women, of course. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those people around her, I'm talking about, telling her baby is not a life, not a human life, but preborn. Preborn's whole ministry is geared to loving these women and to empower them to make the choice of life. And it's an eternal moment. Young woman Stephanie was afraid she was pregnant and she felt she didn't deserve love and support. But after visiting a caring preborn clinic, she experienced her eternal moment when she saw her child on ultrasound, moving about, no fingers, a heartbeat. If you have the means, would you please consider a leadership gift to save babies in a big way? Your tax-deductible donation of $5,000 will sponsor Preborn's entire network for 24 hours, helping to rescue 200 unborn babies. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250. And when prompted, you say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. The keyword is baby, or you can donate securely online at preborn.com/plant, right there on Al Gore's amazing internet. Preborn.com/PLANTE. Preborn has a 100% charity rating. So you know that you're good to go with Preborn. All right, we've got next one I want to share because now that you heard what the modern Third Reich sounds like, the Fourth Reich at George Washington University in America's capital, our nation's capital. Wait till you hear what the man who wanted to be vice president is talking about.
You're listening to The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
WMAL traffic from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center on the Maryland Beltway Inner Loop. Watch for the delays as you come across the American Legion Bridge. Work crews are setting up before River Road. Outer Loop slows off the 270 spur and leaving Bethesda toward the American Legion Bridge. Still trying to clear out all the delays into Annapolis. The initial crash westbound 50 over the Severn River has been cleared for a while. We had a crash in the backup near Route Boulevard that was moved to the shoulder. Inner Loop before Braddock Road, that crash was cleared. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Sunny and breezy today with a high of 78, mostly clear overnight, low 52.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Making sense of your world.
Common sense. Let's get back to common sense.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon.
Now that should give you a lot of cause for hope.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Around the clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Every time I feel my baby kick, I sing. You don't understand. I never sing. I'm not good at singing. I'm the only person I know who's been booed off a karaoke stage. But that was before I was pregnant. Today, I'm a singer with a captive audience of one. She doesn't boo me. She never will.
We know how it feels. We're the March of Dimes. Find out how we can help you have a healthier baby at marchofdimesbaby.org.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD,
you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Illuminating the issues.
There's a whole lot missing here in this story, isn't there?
Every day.
Why are we the only ones reporting this?
News Talk 105.9.
Making sense of the news.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Caronia.
It is Haley Caronia. I'm excited to be here because there's a lot to scroll through on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Truth Social. Love seeing you all in the chat before the show. I try to jump in just a few minutes before to say hello. I love the chat interaction. Thank you for helping. Love all my homies that I get to scroll with. If you want to listen, Nightly Scroll with Haley is where you can find me. Just search that up and I will be there. We've got to spread the word far and wide.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Caronia. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
My baby brother, a father.
Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
SweetDeals.com lets you spend less and have more. Save at least 50% on extraordinary restaurant, product, and entertainment deals. Plus, amazing vacation packages. Live large and save money while doing it. Go to SweetDeals.com today and start saving.
Making sense of the media.
The news media is attacking him because this is what happens when you're a Republican.
Chris Plant, weekdays 9 to noon.
Yeah, our news media, really.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
All right, I'm going to get to the man who would be vice president, the governor of Minnesota, and these people. Can I just say, when do you hear this guy? Right now, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Mike, calling from Bucharest, Romania. Miguel, you're on the Chris Plant Show. I threw a little Miguel in there just because. Hey, Mike.
Well, good morning, sir. Well, it's afternoon here, but good morning to you.
Right, thank you. And to you as well.
I just wanted to say I have a theory about this diagnosis of Mr. Biden that, they're just finding out about it. I think the same doctor that treated him that missed his obvious dementia, he must have missed that prostate cancer too, because there's no way. I just got recently diagnosed about a year and a half ago, and it just doesn't get to that stage overnight, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, stage 4 prostate cancer, right. And if he had a doctor paying attention to him, they would have discovered it years ago, right, Mike?
Oh, there's no way. I mean, and I just happened to go to high school with my doctor, so he's giving me all the, the real skinny, and it just didn't get like that overnight.
Yeah, and and I got to say, he was president of the United States. Thankfully, not anymore. But these doctors need to be called up.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 10. Good morning. I'm John Matthews. Former President Biden has put out a personal statement regarding his cancer diagnosis.
Presidents Trump and Obama and former Vice President Harris are among past and present world leaders, and others
wishing former President Biden a successful recovery from prostate cancer. The former president posting on X a picture smiling next to his wife, writing, "Cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support." Biden's office says the cancer is characterized as aggressive and spread to his bones, but sensitive to treatment, and the family is reviewing treatment options. Chris Foster, Fox News.
President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill passed the House budget panel by a whisker late Sunday night, which is fortunate because there's no way it's ready for prime time.
I will tell you there is no way that we are close to having the votes to pass this without further fiscal restraint in it.
Maryland Congressman Andy Harris, the chair of the House Freedom Caucus, tells WMAL's O'Connor and Company pandemic-era spending levels on things like Medicaid and food stamps must be brought down, pointing to the warning sign of the nation's credit rating dropping. He says leaders in D.C. are whistling past the graveyard. Breaking overnight, a police chase of a stolen car ends with a rollover crash.
Now, this all happened along Duke Street in Alexandria near Van Dorn Street. We're told Virginia State Police tried to pull over the driver of a stolen Honda Civic on I-95, but the driver sped off. The pursuit continued on to Interstate 395 before coming to an end. Police say the driver hit another vehicle, lost control, and flipped over. The suspect is at an area hospital being treated for crash-related injuries.
7 News' Melanie Hastings. George Washington University's semester is over, but protests over the war in Gaza are not. Some pro-Palestinian demonstrators were escorted out of Sunday's commencement ceremony on the Mall, even as one of the graduate speakers, Cecilia Culver, devoted her address to the cause.
Despite repeated calls from students and faculty to disclose all endowments and investments.
I'm making breakfast. Right now I'm cooking bacon. So I got to get back to my kitchen. And if I don't like what I see in my side chat, I'm just going to ban your dumbass. Whippermano.
Of creating a region-wide sales tax to pay for it, instead favoring a plan to allow Maryland, D.C., and Virginia to each come up with their own fiscal solutions. Metro is looking for an infusion of as much as $600 million starting in 2027, with that amount increasing by 3% a year until the project is paid for. Maryland may have the toughest time coming up with that cash between its massive budget deficit and its need to pay for Baltimore's transit issues on top of Metro's. Checking your money. The Dow is down 27 points at this hour. The NASDAQ is down 115. Up next, traffic and weather on WMAL.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Illuminating the issues.
There's a whole lot missing here in this story, isn't there?
Every day.
Why are we the only ones reporting this?
News Talk 105.9.
Making sense of the news.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
There are conditions that almost seem beyond hope, but not when Mercy Ships is there. Mercy Ships is a place restoring hope. To learn more, go to mercyships.org today.
Steve Hirshhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
In Arundel County, the accident was cleared from the westbound lanes of Route 50 at the Severn River Bridge a while ago. It's still extremely slow on westbound 50 and 301 across the Bay Bridge over to the Severn River Bridge, even though everything there has been opened at the scene of the accident. 95 in Maryland northbound up near the ICC. It was a crash, unexpected slowdown there. George Washington Parkway, it remains closed in both directions between Alexandria Avenue and Bellevue Boulevard because of storm damage. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
A beautiful and warm afternoon continues with breezy conditions, mid-70s to around 80, mainly clear and chilly overnight. Tomorrow, clouds increase, widespread rain late tomorrow night, heavy at times on Wednesday. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
69 at Reagan National. I'm John Matthews. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Chris Plant.
The horrors unfolding halfway across the world may be easy to ignore for those lacking a moral backbone. For the rest of us, these atrocities cause us to take stock in our own complacency in the imperialist system.
Ah, yes, the imperialist system, and the crowd went wild at George Washington University in our nation's capital because the Jews must be stopped. You know, on behalf of Hamas. Cecilia Culver, speaking at the George Washington University graduation, the commencement yesterday in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. It is the Jews who are the Nazis. See, it's an apartheid system, and there's a genocide going on. And it's being funded by their tuition at George Washington University. You must boycott, you must divest, you must sanction the Jews. And never mind that Hamas still holding hostages and the dead bodies of hostages that they kidnapped and murdered. They're on the side of the heroes of the story, the radical Islamic Jihadi army called Hamas, funded by Iran. Iran funded by Barack Obama and Joe Biden. The 21st century is not shaping up as well as we had hoped, I've got to say. Not turning out very well at all. And the crowd going wild, and those Jews, they sure are terrible. And the protesters chanting as they're being dragged out by the police from the graduation ceremony at the George Washington University. And the state brutality, all those blood-drenched jihadis must be free, and the state brutality. They're chanting something like that. And then I wanted to share with you, because it goes kind of hand in glove. I think it goes hand in glove. By the way, welcome back, and very good Monday to you. We remain at 888-630-9625. An absolutely toll-free telephone number for you, our beloved listeners out there in the world, not just in America, but the world. In fact, our last caller, Mike, calling in from Bucharest in Romania, and checking in about Joe Biden and his prostate cancer and his dementia, and how apparently Joe Biden could use better doctors. Joe Biden, in fact, President Trump should take a look at the doctors that were used by Joe Biden when he was president and make sure that he doesn't use the same doctors. Because I think President Trump likes living and thinking. Joe Biden, maybe not so much. But we've got that going. Now, I wanted to share the George Washington University commencement yesterday, and this young woman who spoke to the assembled mob of Germanic anti-Semites. Her name is Cecilia Culver, and no one should ever hire her for any job anywhere in the world, in my humble opinion, because I don't like genocidal racists and anti-Semites masquerading as they're posturing as enlightened and open-minded when in reality they've become the fascists of modern day America. Speaking of the fascists of modern day America, Tim Walz is believe it or not, still the governor of the once great state of Minnesota. Now is something of a freak show. But Tim Walz ran with Kamala Harris as her vice presidential running mate, and thankfully they went down in flames. They lost, not literally, down in flames, as the Democrats are firebombing Teslas and Tesla dealerships, and the home of Jewish governor in Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. They've got stuff going down in flames. They got into the whole arson thing and the fire bombs and the Molotov cocktails during their George Floyd fiasco. But never mind that. Let's go to Tim Walz, because the George Washington University virulent anti-Semitism and the news media, they don't go and talk to the students, maybe find Jewish students at George Washington University, and ask them, what do you think about being at this commencement? You just spent $300,000 to get a nearly useless diploma, and then you're treated like a Jew in Munich in 1933 as you graduate from the George Washington University. Now, that should be the front page story on the Washington Post, but it's not. It's not in the Washington Post. They've got ridiculous stories on the front page of the Washington Post because it's not a newspaper at all. But let's get back to Tim Walz, the Democrat governor, and the man who would be vice president. Tim Walz, still governor of Minnesota, and he gave a commencement address yesterday at the University of Minnesota's law school commencement. It was day before yesterday that he gave the address there. But he is spreading the psycho propaganda. Now, President Trump has been shot once by a Democrat, nearly shot a second time by another Democrat who is now in custody. The first one was a suicide attack in Butler, Pennsylvania by a Democrat who wanted to murder Donald Trump because he, got his news from MSNBC and so on. But here is the Democrat governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, day before yesterday at the graduation of the law school at the University of Minnesota.
Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
Gestapo?
They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared.
No chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. That's like Rachel Morin. Did the illegal alien that raped and murdered that mother of five have a chance to kiss her goodbye? How about Laken Riley? Did the illegal alien that murdered her, the nursing student in Georgia, have a chance to kiss her goodbye? Wait a minute. He can't pronounce Gestapo. He's the governor of the state. He's almost vice president of the United States.
Trump's modern-day Gestapo.
The what? The who? If you're going to accuse people, you little mustachioed fascist, you little Hitler, maybe you should be able to pronounce the word Gestapo, which I think I've been able to do since I was 4 or 5 years old, properly. But never mind that. They show up in unmarked vans with masks, and they steal you away to foreign torture dungeons. No sense of irony, these people, because the people they're cheering at George Washington University, Hamas, literally run foreign torture dungeons where hostages, living and dead, are still being held in underground tunnel systems paid for with international money and all that good stuff. Isn't that amazing? But the students, the Democrat Party is a threat to civilization itself. They no longer represent. And when the United States of America falls to these fascists, the rest of the world is easy pickings. The dominoes start going down in like nobody's business.
This is what the crumbling of rule of law looks like in real time. And it's exactly what the founders of this nation feared. A tyrant abusing power to persecute scapegoats and enemies.
I'm sorry, wasn't President Trump charged by Democrat prosecutors in Atlanta and New York and Washington and at the Department of Justice? And what was that, a non-disclosure agreement that 34 felony counts? And didn't you guys round up members of the Trump administration at airports like Peter Navarro and put him in leg shackles, put him in solitary confinement in the D.C. jail. Didn't you round up, more than 1,000 protesters from January 6th, where the day that Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed? And I remember Joe Biden lied to us about that and said 6 police officers were killed that day or something. And they lie like Gurgle. Is it Gurgle? Isn't that the guy that they love? They love Gurgle, right? Isn't that amazing? Yes, they're quite amazing. The Gurgle people, the Democrat Party.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle?
I wouldn't rule that out. It's possible. The Democrat Party, the biggest liars. Speaking of the biggest liars, let's go to MSDNC because we've got some stuff I want to share with you on that. Also over the weekend, some of the audio from the Joe Biden interview with special counsel Robert Hur was made available to us, the public, since we own it. And they've been engaged in an ongoing cover-up about that. But we've got news for you on Joe Biden and his advanced stage prostate cancer. Whoever his doctors are, you don't want them. And President Trump should name the doctors that gave Joe Biden his physicals while he was president over the years. They should be brought up to Capitol Hill and put under oath and forced to answer questions. And that should happen this afternoon. But I'm always in a hurry when it comes to these things. Yeah, so Joe Biden diagnosed with prostate cancer, and the National Institutes of Health, they provide doctors and stuff for the President of the United States and for presidents of the United States. The front page of the Washington Post has it on the upper left. It's not even the lead story. Their lead story is an anti-Trump story. And then their second lead, their off lead on the front page above the fold is another anti-Trump story. And then on the upper left corner of the front page, Biden faces aggressive prostate cancer. His office says the disease, which spread to his bones, is manageable thanks to the patriarchy and big pharma. But Joe Biden, stage 4 prostate cancer. How did it get that far when he was president of the United States just months ago? Isn't that amazing? They say that we are so good at treating prostate cancer thanks to America and the patriarchy and big pharma and American medicine before they wrecked it during the Obama years under Obamacare. 98% survival rate after 5 years, 98%. Joe Biden is a little old and maybe not in such great shape, but never mind. That very aggressive form, it has metastasized to the bone, and they say hormone therapy should be good treatment for it. And with that, I see Gene on the line. Let's go to the telephones, and let's go to Gene calling from Youngstown, Ohio. Gene, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Thanks for pushing my call button or ordering it. Good to talk to you.
Welcome.
This thing with Biden, I mean, a year ago I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and following in the footsteps of my father, who died of that at 66, but I'm much better than that. I'm 78. And mine is not, I had a Gleason score of 6. Biden, they just discovered it, and he's got a Gleason score of 9. That's got to be a cover-up. You don't think this guy was getting a blood test that included a PSA test for probably since he was 55. But I believe he had that, diagnosed with that in 2020 when he ran, and they covered it up because they knew that would be the final blow. He wouldn't be able to hide in the basement. If they knew that, if the public knew that he had prostate cancer, and who knows what it was then, maybe it was like me, maybe it was a Gleason score 6, which kind of puts you in the stage 1 or 2 category. So you've got a good chance that you're not going to, if they start treating it, you're not going to probably die of prostate cancer. I still think I'm going to probably get into a gunfight with one of the members of the Democratic Party of Pain. But
well, you speak very well. You sum everything up very well. So your father died of prostate cancer. He was 66 years old. You're 78. Right. You were diagnosed a year ago. Gleason score, which is something we're all learning about today, of 6 for you and of 9 for Joe Biden. And you think it had to have been years ago that this was discovered?
That's what I believe. Although, I had a friend, more the friend in radio. Actually, he's a talk show host over in Pennsylvania. And, he got diagnosed with prostate cancer, Gleason score 6, at about the same time I did. But he didn't get put under what they call a surveillance, where you go every 6 months and they do a PSA test. They started treating him with something right away. And the next thing you know, he had heart problems. He went in and said he needed a heart valve replacement. Well, he died about a month ago.
Man,
which was really kind of shocking to me. But
well, I'm sorry to hear that, Gene. But listen, I'm glad that you called in, and I'm glad that you're doing well. And you're right to raise an eyebrow and to raise a red flag over what we've learned involving Joe Biden, and who was president of the United States, and Gene, who has experience that he wishes he didn't have with his father and himself, saying that this stage 4 metastasized to the bone, the Gleason score we're learning about of 9 with a maximum of 10. And it is very suspicious that we didn't hear about this or know about this years ago. And it's legitimate to question whether he and the White House and the campaign did know about this years ago, and NIH. And it's just another example of our government lying and lying and lying, and the Democrat Party being involved in conspiracies all over the place to lie to us. Gene, thank you for the call, my friend. If you've had enough of the big wireless runaround, your phone companies, it's time to switch to Consumer Cellular. I got a beautiful Consumer Cellular phone. It's amazing. It works just beautifully. You're going to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as big wireless, but without the big wireless prices and without the mega corporation shenanigans, about their shenanigans, where they force you into an unlimited data plan that you really don't even need. Consumer Cellular isn't one of those prepaid options. You pick a plan, and you know exactly what your bill is going to be every month. It's incredibly easy to switch. Just call. You're going to speak with an actual human being based right here in the United States of America. And they make switching your plan fast, and they make it easy. And right now, you can get your second month for free with my special promo code Chris, just my first name. Taxes and third-party fees will apply. So check out consumercellular.com/Chris. consumercellular.com/Chris, or give them a call on the phone at 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Man, oh man. When do you hear this MSDNC, these people, on Joe Biden and the little circle fest they have over there, Joe Biden and his prostate cancer, coming up.
There's only one Chris Plant. The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Just a few years ago, I don't think anyone had heard or uttered the phrase whole body deodorant. But now it seems hard to turn on the TV and not see an ad for these products. A dermatologist we talked to about this said they do work. And yes, there are areas of your body other than your armpits that can smell. Whole body deodorants often have powdery elements that absorb sweat. And while most don't contain sweat-controlling aluminum salts like traditional antiperspirants, some of them do as well. Others contain innovative products that incorporate antimicrobial compounds, which then target the bacteria that actually cause one to stink. But do you need a full-body deodorant? The consensus is no. For people with sensitive skin, these products can actually be irritating. And as one dermatologist put it, I still prefer soap and water. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like LaToya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
It is Haley Carania. I'm excited to be here because there's a lot to scroll through on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Truth Social. Love seeing you all in the chat before the show. I tried to jump in just a few minutes before to say hello. I love the chat interaction. Thank you for helping. Love all my homies that I get to scroll with. If you want to listen, Nightly Scroll with Haley is where you can find me. Just search that up and I will be there. We've got to spread the word far and wide.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Every 15 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. If it's happened to you or someone you love, the American Cancer Society can help at every step of the journey. Visit cancer.org today.
We're the stronger than we look type. I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2. The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ricky Sykes is in the house, everybody.
NXT North American Champion, baby. How you feeling right now, man? I feel great.
Jay Uso, what's going on, man?
A lot of heavy days, but it's okay, man. It's part of the game.
They know who they are, bro. And you know who I am. TJ, can you tell them where to find us?
Yeah. I mean, why else are we here?
You can always find us No Contest Wrestling. Check us out.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of your world
On the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives.
all with the new WMAL app.
This is for you.
Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
All right, I've got audio that just knocked my socks off about Joe Biden and his prostate cancer from a world-renowned left-wing Democrat political cancer doctor. That's coming up. And for how long did Joe Biden have cancer? Did he have cancer before he was elected president and they covered it up and lied to us, which would be entirely unsurprising? But I'm looking at the clock now, and I don't think that I have time to do justice to the callers on the line because the clock is ticking out loud. But I've got, and this is just amazing, the audio that I have to share with you is astonishing. And I've got to say, it goes with what Gene was describing. Gene called in from Ohio, and he has had prostate cancer. His father died of prostate cancer years ago. And I've got an update for you on Joe Biden and the prostate cancer, which has metastasized to the bone. And wait till you hear what this famous Democrat oncologist had to say about the timeline on Joe Biden's prostate cancer.
This is the Chris Plant Show. WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 10:30. Good morning. I'm John Matthews. By just a whisker, Republicans passed their version of the Trump budget bill out of committee Sunday night. But House Freedom Caucus Chair Andy Harris tells WMAL it will not survive a floor vote without deeper spending cuts. Floor vote expected by the end of the week. President Trump is hoping separate phone calls today with Russian leader Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will make progress towards a ceasefire in the war in Ukraine. The president's efforts will also include calls to NATO leaders as he puts his reputation as a deal maker to the test after claiming he would bring the war to an end within days of returning to office. After months of trailing last year's homicide rate, D.C. is now in danger of making a tragic comeback. 4 men and a teenage boy have been killed in the city in the past 6 days. That brings the unofficial count for the year to 57, compared to 61 at this point last year. Traffic and weather next.
This report is sponsored by Shaneco. Most roofing companies disappear in 5 years or less, kind of like that ladder your neighbor was just borrowing. For over 20 years, Shaneco has built roofs to last. Trust a reliable roofer. Visit GoShaneco.com and get $2,000 off your next roof. Restrictions apply. That's GoShaneco.com.
Steve Hirshhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Around the Beltway now, the outer loop is very slow approaching an accident before the Baltimore-Washington Parkway in the right lane. Then the outer loop slows from Old Georgetown Road to the construction after River Road before Carter Rock along the left. Inner loop northbound and delays leaving Tyson's from Route 7. Construction is on the inner loop after the Clara Barton Parkway in the left lane. George Washington Parkway remains closed in both directions between Alexandria Avenue and Bellevue Boulevard because of storm damage. Westbound 50 and 301 still slow from the Bay Bridge to the accident at Route 450. That was just cleared. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Sunny and breezy with a high near 80. It is 70 at Reagan National. John Matthews, News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania.
It is Haley Carania. I'm excited to be here because there's a lot to scroll through on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Truth Social. Love seeing you all in the chat before the show. I tried to jump in just a few minutes before to say hello. I love the chat interaction. Thank you for helping. Love all my homies that I get to scroll with. If you want to listen, Nightly Scroll with Haley is where you can find me. Just search that up and I will be there. We've got to spread the word far and wide.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Carania. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. See, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Around-the-clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
For a local news source you can trust, visit WMAL.com.
Thank God for that.
Get the day's top stories. Stream your favorite WMAL shows. Access our podcast archives and more. WMAL.com. Making sense of your world online.
The Bigger Pockets Podcast Network is your home for real estate investing.
So why real estate? We keep saying it, but the housing market is shifting more and more towards a buyer's market every week.
Guess what, folks? You can still buy real estate today.
You can buy a quality rental property today
And build an investment portfolio that cash flows monthly.
These are my favorite markets for cash flow.
And build wealth long term.
The world has changed, but the best way to invest in real estate hasn't.
Search for the Bigger Pockets Real Estate Show anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
WMAL, making sense of the markets, because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
I want to do everything at once, as is often the case, but what I'm going to do, because I have audio I want to share with you, but before I go to that, I want to go to one of our beloved and wonderful callers on the line. I want to go to Susan, calling from Chicago, Illinois, home of the great WLS. And Susan, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris. I'm a big fan. Listen every time I'm in the car. And actually, I'm calling from a suburb of Chicago, New Lenox, the home of one of the Pope's brothers.
That is
anyway,
great. Excellent.
I'm calling because this whole thing with Biden is really upsetting. My fiance has just gone through prostate cancer treatment. He was being watched and observed for 6 years, and then it got worse, and he had the hormone treatments, which I can say it can be very debilitating. Bad hot flashes, weakness, stomach upsets, a lot of issues. And then he had the prostate surgery. In my mind, it is extremely unlikely that this is a new diagnosis. I mean, this guy has supposedly the best doctors doing, physicals on him every year. And it's like inconceivable that we didn't know. Wasn't he just on The View last week? So how could he have just been diagnosed? I mean, if you are diagnosed with prostate cancer and they make a pincushion out of your prostate, believe me, you're not going to feel like going and sitting on The View. So it's just disturbing the amount of lies that we've been told and the way they've hidden things. And I'm going to say I'm not a Biden fan, but I feel very bad for him that he has to go through this.
Sure.
But the country deserved much better from the physicians and whoever else was in charge, because obviously it wasn't Joe.
Right. And you're a medical professional, you're a nurse, and you have retired nurse, even better, lots of experience, and your fiance has been fighting prostate cancer and treated for it, and first what
about 6 years.
And so you're quite familiar, and you have the appropriate background. You're quite familiar with how this goes about. When you hear that he is where he is now, they say that he is stage 4, right? And that he's a 9 on the Gleason scale out of 10, and that it's an aggressive form, that it has metastasized to the bone. These are all indicators to you that this has been present for a long, long time. It is not a brand new surprise diagnosis.
Right. And the only other thing that could explain this, but I doubt it, is that he had such bad dementia that he couldn't verbalize any symptoms or pain or problems that he was having. That doesn't really come into play because he supposedly has the top doctors looking after him. Doctors were constantly at the White House.
Right.
So it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I tell you, I want to, as I said, I wanted to get you on the line to join us here before I went to this audio, Susan, of someone whose name you doubtless know. He's from Chicago, too, and he's the brother of Rahm Emanuel and, famous Democrat Party hack Rahm Emanuel, and my high school classmate, too. But Rahm Emanuel's brother, Ezekiel Emanuel, known as Zeke Emanuel, is a famous oncologist, a cancer doctor, and he's been involved with Obamacare, ruining healthcare in the United States because he's a leftist. But let me share this with you, because this morning on Morning Joke on MSDNC, they naturally invited on Rahm Emanuel's brother. Their other brother is a Hollywood agent, and they made a TV show on HBO about him. And I've got just listen to what Zeke Emanuel said to Joe Scarborough this morning. Joe Scarborough was slack-jawed when he heard what Emanuel had to say. And again, he's revered because he's a Democrat, naturally, and he's a party activist, and he stabbed us all in the front with Obamacare, which he was very involved in. But listen to this, because this will reaffirm what you're saying, Susan, about this not being a brand new case of prostate cancer for Joe Biden. And it really looks like, and I got to say, and Gene was talking about it as well, boy, and I got to say, Mike, who called in from Bucharest in Romania, was making the same point. Nobody believes that this is a brand new diagnosis. Stage 4, a 9 on the Gleason scale out of 10. And they're shrugging like, oh boy, we just learned that Joe Biden has, and here's what Ezekiel Emanuel had to say.
You're an oncologist, obviously.
I don't know, it's obvious.
Incredibly respected.
Can't tell by looking at him.
You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years.
Oh, more than several years. A world-renowned oncologist, cancer doctor, was shocked that Mo Yarbrough, one of the biggest liars in North America, at least not elected. You got Adam Schiff in California and things, but he's the biggest liar in Congress, and they promoted him in California once they learned he was the biggest liar. So, he's like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Years, could have been for years, more than a few years. We're not talking about just a few years. And Joe Scarborough, a little bit, whoa, really, because now they're starting to do the timeline in their demented, gender dysphoric heads. And they're saying, wait a minute, you mean he's had this since before he ran for office, before he was elected 5 years ago? And obviously, the doctors, he was vice president before that. And the vice president gets pretty good medical attention, too, like the president of the United States. And you're telling me, oh, gosh, we just learned that the president of the United States has stage 4 prostate cancer, and he's 9 on the Gleason scale, which everybody knows, except everybody doesn't know. And just amazing, amazing lies. The lies are so big that no one would dare to not believe them. An aggressive form of prostate cancer, stage 4, it has metastasized to the bone, and world-renowned cancer doctor, oncologist, Zeke Emanuel, a.k.a. Ezekiel Emanuel, says, oh, more than just a few years. This is, are you kidding?
So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
I don't think there's any disagreement about that. There's so wait a minute. For how many years could he possibly have had prostate cancer? Could he have had prostate cancer going back to certainly before he became president of the United States? And the Democrat Party, again, covering up, engaged in a cover-up because they want power. And they would throw him on a funeral pyre in exchange for one more term in the White House for the Democrat Party. They don't care about human life. They firebomb, they gather organs from more than 1 million unborn babies every year. They're not the human life people. They'd make Dr. Mengele proud at this point in their history. Isn't that amazing? So, Susan, you just heard Zeke Emanuel say that, and what do you say to that? Doesn't surprise you at all, does it?
No, it doesn't. And, to me, anybody who's been in Joe's administration and been a part of this cover-up, and it pretty much would have to be everybody, it shouldn't ever be elected to an office. They shouldn't even be allowed to be city dog catcher. It's just appalling, and I'm not saying that people who have cancer can't do a job, can't can't function. There are people who are very sick and go to work every day. But we're talking about the President of the United States, and we're talking about people and the media saying how sharp he was, how fantastic, he can perform, and it just doesn't jive between, the supposed Parkinson's. They were hiding him because, he was having a lot more bad days than good days.
Right.
But it's just appalling that our government is capable of this.
And this is one more example. It's not like this is a standalone example. This is in keeping with what we have. It's the Soviet Union, and Elena Gorakova, a woman who was a writer in the Soviet Union, wrote a book called A Mountain of Crumbs, and she famously said, the rules are simple. They lied to us. We know they're lying to us. They know we know they're lying to us, and they keep lying to us. The Democrat Party has Sovietized the United States of America to the point where it's really not recognizable anymore. And Susan, you're wonderful. I thank you for calling in and for being who you are. You're obviously a clear-headed person and a wonderful person. So thank you for checking in with us today. I appreciate it. Now, and I got to say this, maybe a decade. They're talking about Zeke Emanuel saying, maybe head for a decade, and Joe Scarborough's, because it already probably talked to him offline. So I meant Joe Biden has had cancer for maybe a decade, and the Democrat Party has and used the government, National Institutes of Health, and beyond the White House medical office and so on to keep it a secret.
Doesn't it take some time for prostate cancer to develop to a point where it would spread to the bones?
Oh, he's had this for many years, maybe even a decade, growing there and spreading. That's right. It's a little surprising. I look back at the records, and there's no evidence that when he got his health status and the medical records were released that he had a prostate-specific antigen.
That's your PSA, your prostate-specific antigen, which they test you for if you're a man. And if it's a high number, then they start looking further. And I got to say, our government lies to us with such ease and comfort. And the Democrats, their greed, their lust for power is a very corrupting influence. Now, again, the New York Post has the story and the Washington Post doesn't. Doctor who worked with Biden is shocked over cancer diagnosis, claims former president may have had disease for a decade. Leading oncologist who worked for former President Biden has joined those expressing shock that his prostate cancer was not detected earlier, suggesting the oldest ever president may even have had it for a decade. Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, again, Rahm Emanuel's brother, mayor of Chicago, White House, and Obama, and remember, I guess he was member of the House too. They love government, and they all get really rich being in government. Isn't that kind of peculiar? Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, former member of Biden's transition team. Did they all become, all the men became women and all the women became, because that's what transition is, isn't it? It only has one meaning now. Their transition team who helped craft the Obama-era Affordable Care Act, that's Obamacare, stunned MSDNC's left-leaning morning joke with his analysis. I apologize, it's MS-13 DNC. He had this for many years, said Dr. Emanuel, maybe even a decade, growing there and spreading, Emanuel told the Biden-supporting hosts early on Monday morning. This is a little surprising. I look back at his records. There's no evidence that when we got his health status, that the medical records were released, that he had prostate-specific antigen. Now, I got to tell you, the lies are so big. And I wish him no harm. Of course, if it had been President Trump, Democrats would be out burning police cars in celebration now, tearing down banks, calling for an end to capitalism, because the Democrat Party just not on Team America. Boy, they are really something. So maybe a decade. Where does a decade bring us to? 2015. Yeah. 2015. Before Trump was elected the first time, right? When Hillary Clinton was, wow, just amazing. Our Democrat Party and our media. And this would be an abuse of the National Institutes of Health, of our entire health system, and on and on. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived? And it's built on the incredible success of the previous generations, which earned them thousands of five-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet, became a bestseller in no time at all. We've got 2 of them, or maybe 3 of them, operating in my home right now. This new Thunderstorm uses 2 technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of viruses and bacteria floating around in the air in your home. It also removes dust and pet stuff and smoke and a whole lot more from the air that you breathe. And it gets rid of any smelly odor. All with no filters to buy and replace over and over again. Very inconvenient, those filters. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell guaranteed. I mean, trash can, cigarette smoke. Liberal protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Any smell will disappear after just a few seconds. And right now, you can save $200 when you get an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. Upstairs, downstairs, the teenager's room, any place you like to have clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com, and use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 because we're pals. And you get 3 Thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. Now, make the lie big enough, and no one will dare to not believe it. We've got more coming up, and a Mexican ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. Have you seen this? Completely nuts. What's with these ships and bridges? A Mexican ship, a Navy ship, crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. Got that coming up, too.
You're listening to The Chris Plant Show. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Making sense of the headlines, making sense of your world. WMAL's Vince Colonnese.
Thank you for all you do on the radio show.
What a nice call. Thank you very much. Weekdays, noon to 3. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. Clarity and context for a complex world.
I'm going to be far more thorough and specific than ever before.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
Searching for an inside look at the people, stories, and passion that fuel the state of soccer in America? The United States Soccer Federation will be launching the all-new U.S. Soccer Podcast. Episodes will go beyond the field with players, coaches, and legends to bring you honest conversations and untold stories. This is where soccer will come to life. The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Searching HVAC near here.
Right here, ma'am. How can we help?
Wow, nobody local? Huh.
Wait, what? We are an HVAC company literally in your neighborhood. Why is she not seeing us?
Just all the big chains. Well, it is what it is.
What in the... Can you not see us?
Nope, they can't see you. Because you're buried deep in the list of local HVAC providers. You are invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
Every 15 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. If it's happened to you or someone you love, the American Cancer Society can help at every step of the journey. Visit cancer.org today.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
According to government data, about 80% of the U.S. workforce works sedentary jobs. And those people, according to a new study out of the University of South Florida, face a significantly higher risk of insomnia. The lead researcher said this: "We already know sleep is as close as a magic bullet that we have for employee productivity and well-being. And yet, the way job design has changed endangers sleep health." Most people, of course, can't just up and change careers. So if you're someone who's having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, what can you do to get some quality shut-eye? Start by incorporating more activity throughout the day. That's really important. Short bursts of exercise every hour, that can be a big help. Little things as well, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator, that can help. And at night, really important, ditch the devices an hour before bed. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Need a quick podcast fix?
Yes. Okay.
Cumulus Podcast Network has got you covered.
This is giving a little entertainment.
Whether it's news, talk, sports, or pop culture,
It can be a little political and a little dramatic.
there's something for everyone. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions. Like, what's next? What does my future hold?
Breakfast is
The
done.
thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit today'smilitary.com.
WMAL, making sense of the vote because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
I have, I got to say, I think they shocked even me. And the wonderful Jasmine, who was on telephones today, bringing up the Mexican Coast Guard ship crashing into the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. Chuck Schumer, who is responsible for tornadoes in Kentucky yesterday. There were tornadoes in Kentucky, deadly tornadoes. I've discovered that Chuck Schumer is personally responsible for those tornadoes. That's, of course, a ridiculous claim, but it's no more ridiculous than the claim that Chuck Schumer just made about the Mexican Coast Guard ship hitting the Brooklyn Bridge and who he blames for a Mexican. It's like a tall ship, a sailing ship, multi-masted, big, vintage, beautiful sailing ship that they crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. And Chuck Schumer knows who is responsible for that. And it's almost impossible to believe until you understand that they're the Soviet Union. I might as well just say that Chuck Schumer was Adolf Hitler's chief of staff until the end of the war. Their lies are so gigantic, they're so spectacular, that the brazenness, the shamelessness, the mendacity of these people is beyond belief. But I've got Chuck Schumer coming up for you, because he's really something. And we have David Axelrod, too. We got him coming up. And more crazy Democrat, and the suicide attack.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington. A Cumulus Media
Thanks
Station.
for calling.
Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 11. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Matthews. Support for former President Biden in the wake of his cancer diagnosis is pouring in.
There is new reaction.
Cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support. President Trump posted, quote, Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and family. We wish Joe a fast and successful recovery.
Fox News' Rich Edson. The GOP-led House Budget Committee barely passed its version of the big, beautiful budget bill sought by President Trump, but it is far from a finished product. Freedom Caucus Chairman Andy Harris tells WMAL's O'Connor and Company more spending cuts are needed to rid the budget of pandemic-era bloat.
No Republican's going to lose who stands for fiscal restraint. I think the president will come around to the opinion that we do have to show fiscal restraint, and I think that we will win on that messaging.
Harris says the votes to pass the bill won't be there if there's not more fiscal restraint, a floor vote expected by week's end. President Trump set to hold separate phone conversations with the presidents of Russia and Ukraine today as he searches for a ceasefire in their war.
President Trump does not think the war in Ukraine is going to end until he sits face to face with Vladimir Putin. So this call could be to set the terms for that. President Trump says also the subjects of the call will be stopping the bloodbath that is killing on average more than 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week, and trade too. The president instructed his team to end this war within the first 100 days back in office, but as that deadline came and went, the president and his team started to wonder if Putin and the Russians are just tapping the White House along.
Fox News' Peter Ducey. Federal cuts are taking a toll on food banks in the D.C. metro area.
The Capital Area Food Bank, the Maryland Food Bank, and the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank collectively lost over 1.4 million meals following the March cuts at the USDA. That's when the U.S. Department of Agriculture paused $500 million in funding for food programs. Blue Ridge Food Bank CEO Michael McKee telling the Washington Post this isn't about ideology, it's about math. The USDA, in response, noting the department issues over $400 million worth of nutrition benefits daily across its 16 programs. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
After months of trailing last year's homicide rate, D.C.'s in danger of making a tragic comeback. 4 men and a teenage boy have been killed in the city in the past 6 days. That brings the unofficial count for the year to 57. That compares to 61 at this point last year. Police data shows violent crime overall, however, still down 23% compared to last year. Gas prices rose by about a nickel both locally and nationwide in the past week to $3.15 a gallon, that according to Gas Buddy. The rise coming after trade and tariff tensions eased at least temporarily between the U.S. and China. Analyst Patrick DeHaan says this could be an ongoing storyline for gas and oil prices throughout the summer.
If we do see more trade agreements between the U.S. and partners, we could actually see higher gas prices on the hopes that those trade agreements will lead to economic growth, including a rise in oil consumption globally.
If the season goes normally otherwise, DeHaan says we could see prices slowly fade after Memorial Day. The Dow's down 23 points, NASDAQ down 103. Traffic and weather next.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
We are the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
Searching for an inside look at the people, stories, and passion that fuel the state of soccer in America? The United States Soccer Federation will be launching the all-new U.S. Soccer Podcast. Episodes will go beyond the field with players, coaches, and legends to bring you honest conversations and untold stories. This is where soccer will come to life. The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platforms.
Steve Hirschhorn in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
95 southbound, pretty heavy now. Route 1 in Woodbridge down to 123. You get a little bit of a break, and then you slow again from Dale Boulevard most of the way down to 234 Dumfries, where roadwork has the left lane closed. Beltway Outer Loop, still slow. Old Georgetown Road to the construction after River Road along the left. The inner loop is slow, leaving Tyson's from Route 7 up to the construction after the Clara Barton Parkway in the left lane. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Sunny and breezy today. We'll have a high near 80. Clear skies overnight with a low of 52. It is 70 at Reagan National. John Matthews, News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Chris Plant.
The Democratic National Committee protested President Trump's plans to accept a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar by flying a banner over Mar-a-Lago reading Qatar-a-Lago. It's the kind of hilarious stunt that makes you realize why the Democrats will never win again.
Which would certainly be the best thing for humankind and for the future of civilization itself, as any child of 6 can tell you. And I've got one that it just dazzles this. The Democrat Party, they're not aware that not lying is an option. Everything must be an incredible lie. And to that end, the head of CBS News is stepping down. And I love this. The New York Times, a woman named Wendy McMahon, the president of CBS News, is stepping down.
He could not see.
And the headline of the New York Times is, head of CBS News to depart amid tensions with Trump, which is to imply that there is a causal relationship between these two unrelated facts. President Trump tensions with news organizations that are out to get him, and the head of CBS News steps down. So the New York Times, which is corrupt as any Soviet news enterprise in the history of the world, head of CBS News to depart amid tensions with Trump. In unrelated news, just amazing stuff. But let me get to this, because the lies are so, and that's the lie of the moment by the New York Times, that somehow there is causal relationship, connective tissue between the woman who's the head of CBS News stepping down and tensions with Trump. That's what's going on. That's not what's going on, but that's what the headline implies, and that's all they care about, making the false implication and blaming Trump for the head of CBS News stepping down. But he'll take credit for it and laugh and walk away. Now, with that said, let me go, because there's this kind of an interesting story. It's not a fun story, because 2 people died and 19 more people were injured when a Mexican Navy ship, that is not a slur. Democrats think if you call anything Mexican that it's an insult or a slur. It's a naval ship and a vintage masted sailing ship belonging to the Coast Guard, the Navy of Mexico, of the country of Mexico. And it's obviously a terrible tragedy, because people died and more people were injured in this incident when the ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. And the ship looks like a beautiful ship, and the damage was severe. And again, 2 people dead, 19 injured, a tragic incident. The fake New York Times, after a Mexican Navy ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge new details emerge. What went wrong? Well, I won't look to the New York Times to answer that question for sure. Mexican Navy sailors prepared high-flying farewell display before fatal Brooklyn Bridge crash. Now, we had this incident with a foreign ship, not a Navy ship, but a foreign container ship crashing into the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. You remember the ship was called the Dolly, the D-A-L-I, like Salvador, not like Dolly Parton, D-O-L-L-Y, right? But Mexican Navy ship, they had the most gigantic Mexican flag you've ever seen. Bigger than any Mexican flag you've ever seen on any pickup truck anywhere. It was big. It was a big flag. A group of Mexican sailors harnessed themselves to the towering masts of their ship, docked beneath the Manhattan skyline Saturday night, preparing to proudly stand in unison on their vessel beams as they sailed out of New York Harbor. And a really cool moment for them, to be sure, really an amazing ship, a beautiful ship, an unbelievable moment. It's a traditional performance put on by the crew of the 43-year-old Mexican Navy ship whenever they enter or leave a port. But those sailors that likely would have avoided scaling the ship roughly 147-foot tall masts if they knew what would happen next. NYPD officials said they believe that the ship lost power as it departed. Isn't that what happened to the Dolly in Baltimore, where it crashed into the Key Bridge and collapsed the Key Bridge? And how many died there? 6, I think, people on the bridge, if I remember correctly, died there. But they say, and this is the Gothamist out of New York, where they probably know a few people, NYPD officials said they believe that the ship lost power as it departed, and strong tides and winds sent the ship drifting up the East River. Around 8:20 p.m., the ship struck the Brooklyn Bridge, which has clearance of about 127 feet above the water. And again, they said the mast, 147 feet. That means it's 20 feet higher. The masts are going to be 20 feet higher than the Brooklyn Bridge there. The top parts of the ship mast snapped, and video showed this of the scene showed several sailors dangling perilously from ropes as the vessel careened toward the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And it's ugly. Mexican Navy officials reported 2 people died from the crash. Oh, and now an update, 22 were injured, 11 of those critically injured. Officials said the ship carried a crew of 277 sailors. Now, Chuck Schumer is a radical Soviet-style anti-American communist senator from New York, and just amazing stuff. Now, one of the victims who died was identified as a cadet, boy, it's a terrible thing. Cadet, young sailors in the Mexican Navy in this incredible ship, and it's an honor to be on it. You're in New York, and you're preparing to leave New York Harbor, and you're going to remember this your whole life. And they crash, and people are killed, and people are critically injured, and it's a terrible thing. Now, Chuck Schumer, who lies about everything, when he's sitting there silent, he's thinking lies. When he's sleeping at night, his dreams are lies. And he, Chuck Schumer, Democrat senator, New York, he knows who to blame. Now, I'll give you one guess. Who Chuck Schumer blames for the Mexican Navy ship hitting the Brooklyn Bridge. Anybody? Raise your hand in the back. Yeah, you're right. It's so easy to guess. Here's Chuck Schumer today telling us who's to blame for the Mexican Navy ship hitting the Brooklyn Bridge in New York.
We know that the Trump administration has been meddling in U.S. Coast Guard operations, from staffing to command and comms. And I have the general sense of a Doge dysfunction in parts of the Coast Guard. To put it mildly, after being fully briefed on last night's Brooklyn Bridge accident, one thing is very clear. There are many more questions than answers We know that there has been meddling by the Trump administration into the Coast Guard staffing, and now we need to know how this meddling might have impacted the events of last night.
Yes. Chuck Schumer knows that it's Trump's fault because Trump has been meddling, I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, in the U.S. Coast Guard, not the Mexican Coast Guard staffing, but U.S. Coast Guard staffing. And somehow Trump and Doge, Elon Musk, who Democrats want to assassinate, and this man is a senator. He's the highest ranking Democrat in the United States of America. And he's blaming Trump, saying that Trump meddled in U.S. Coast Guard staffing, which is doubtless a ridiculous claim all by itself, and that draws a direct line to a Mexican naval ship crashing into the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. Aren't they amazing? Our Democrat Party. And the sailors are killed, sailors are critically injured, and it's Trump's fault. Wow. That is, what was the NBC story about people with mental issues? Chuck Schumer should be impeached for that. He should be removed from office. Maybe he should be arrested. He should be grabbed at an airport when he goes to, you think he flies private? I assume he usually flies private. Don't you know who he is? Aren't they amazing? Man, oh man, oh man. I am telling you. Okay, our Democrat Party. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Mike calling from Queens, New York. Mike, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. Thanks for taking the call.
Hey, Mike.
I just wanted to know if you found it a little bit ironic that these Mexicans and all can scale a border wall, tunnel underneath it, but can't navigate their way under a bridge.
Let's see. They can tunnel underneath. They can scale walls, but you can't take a ship under a bridge when you got to know how tall the bridge is and how high your masts are. I guess it is a little ironic, but Mike, now thanks to your senator, maybe you didn't vote for him.
Hi, Senator.
Yeah, maybe you didn't vote for him, but Chuck Schumer, he's identified the problem, and it's Trump's fault and Doge and Elon Musk that a Mexican naval ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge because Chuck Schumer said that Trump has meddled in U.S. Coast Guard leadership in staffing. And that
I think the problem is Chuck Schumer and the rest of the Democrats, to be honest with you. He's been meddling in everything for the past 50 years and has done absolutely nothing.
Absolutely right. That's 100% right. And
they're not with us, Chris.
They're not on our side. I've been saying it for years, Michael, and it's true.
Absolutely not.
They are not on our side. And you're in Queens, so you don't have the Brooklyn Bridge out your window. But boy, that's a big deal. That is, you crash into the Brooklyn Bridge, and Chuck Schumer. Well, it's clearly Trump's fault. These people. They're the party of the first American Civil War, and they really need to dial down their BS, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, a guy that doesn't know how to grill a hamburger, I wouldn't listen to anything else either.
That's a good call on that one. Yeah. The video of Chuck Schumer trying to barbecue a burger was so embarrassing. He was like a space alien just landed from another galaxy. Just amazing. Wow. These guys.
Man, what are you going to do, Chris? We're stuck with them because we have nitwits here that'll keep voting for them.
They will. Yeah, they will. And I mean, I know she's not your House member either, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's going to be there until the end of time. In fact, she might go for Chuck Schumer's seat. And then the Democrats would put her in the Senate, like California put Adam Schiff in the Senate out of the House of Representatives, where he proved to be the biggest liar in the history of the Congress. And they say, in California, we got to promote him. Let's make him a senator. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely, Chris. I mean, liberalism is a mental disorder.
I think maybe the Democrat Party should be disbanded, should be banned in the United States.
Absolutely.
How many, that...
They're going to do it. Hopefully they do it to themselves.
Yeah, they appear to be self-destructing, but they've destroyed public education. And I don't know if you were listening earlier, Mike, when I had the lunatic at the graduation ceremony at George Washington University, and the whole crowd going wild. And they're, like, death to Israel, death to the Jews, disband the, they got to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel because Israel's the bad guy, not Hamas. The Democrat Party has done that to generations of Americans, and they live among us. They're a danger to civilization. Man, Mike knows it. He knows it for sure. That is amazing. Yeah. Manischewitz, I am telling you. Thank you, Mike. Good luck there in New York. Keep your eyes peeled. Things are a little out of control. If you've had enough of big wireless, you know who they are, the big wireless companies and their runaround, it is time to switch to consumer cellular. I got the coolest, newest, bestest phone with the best camera, and boy, happened no time at all, just like that. You go to consumer cellular, you're going to get the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage that you get from big wireless, but without the big wireless prices and without the megacorp shenanigans they're so famous for. They force you into an unlimited plan that you probably don't need and you got to pay more for. Consumer cellular isn't one of these prepaid options. You pick a plan and you know exactly what your bill is going to be every month. It's incredibly easy to switch to. All you have to do, you just call and you speak to an actual human being based right here in the United States. Imagine that. They make switching your plan fast and easy. Right now, you can get your second month free because we're friends and we hang out together. You get your second month free with the promo code CHRIS, CHRIS, just my first name. Taxes and third-party fees will apply, so check out consumercellular.com/CHRIS, or you can give them a call on the phone at 800-760-0702. Real person in America. Isn't that great? All right, we've got, I haven't even gotten to the Democrats' latest suicide attack. The latest Democrat to blow himself up and self-immolate because he despises...
Hey, DA, I've never burnt my feet trying to make fucking drugs, cook drugs.
Administration has been meddling in U.S. Coast Guard operations.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
There's only one Chris Plant.
But Schumer is saying Trump is meddling in Coast Guard operation. He's their boss, you dumb fuckers. Obviously, FDU is afraid of this fucking panel right here. I don't know what your deal is, Wiggin. I didn't lie to you. Oh, you always got to come here and make this chat about you. Well, I'll never come to your chat again. Never. And if you come in my chat, I'm kicking you out, Wiggin. You don't have no quarter here no more. We ain't friends. I'm not your friend. Fuck you. You've stabbed me in the back for the last fucking time. I'll find it funny. Like you said, you don't care about Vegas chat. What a fucking cesspool. Nothing but a bunch of wrenches from CNN anyways. That's all there is there. No way is that a mega chat, them letting fucking Logical get away with what he's doing. So that means he's part of the management or whatever. Ever who the owners are of Vegas chat, all right? Indeed. Bunch of libtards. You're the dumbest fucker on the internet, Patrick Francis Callahan. I should post your address and phone number up here. I'm not going to block you. Why would I block you? I don't block anybody else. I don't keep anybody blocked. You guys are afraid of a wrench. It's okay if you have one. There's Patrick Rowe sitting in Acid Drip's fucking chat with a wrench, and that dumb fucker's got my accounts blocked, so he can't see me. You're always trying to twist things, Wiggin, and I'm sick of it. You called me a fucking liar. Come up here and fucking prove it. You guys want to say that Guitar J fucking taught me a lesson or whatever? JC wants to say that I'm fucking jealous of these fuckers. Fuck you, JC. You shot yourself in the foot, bitch. I come in there in peace, and I come back, and you let that fucker do that. It just shows that you lack good character, JC. That's all there is to it. So now you have an enemy forever. I don't care who your friends are. I don't. Any friend of JC, you're a fucking idiot. If you think this woman is entertaining and you like this woman for whatever fucking reason, you're just as dumb as she is, because she is a dumb motherfucker. I don't owe you shit, JC. And I don't owe you anything either, Wiggin. Leisha, it's the end of the line for your boyfriend. Call me a liar. I don't care if you never come back to this chat, Wiggin. I don't need you. And you're not going to help me build my chat. I built my chat. You fear my wrench. That's all there is to it. I let you come in here and do your spiel and fucking go after JT and all the rest and, conducting war. You think I'm your soldier? You and Charlie have I don't know what your fetish is with Charlie, but, he must give you a good knobber better than Alicia. That's for fucking sure. So there you go, Alicia. You got war with Billy. Now, I'm not friends with Wiggin. I don't want to be his friend. He needs to leave me alone. Him and Logical and all you fuckers need to leave me alone. If you don't, then, you're going to get what you're going to get. Every time Logical posts with my mother's picture, that's a mark against JC and Rusty. Because Rusty bragged that she helped JC do that. Because that's what you guys do. Bottom line. And now look at the shit going on with fucking Biden. Then DA's in there like he knows everything. Oh, I told you about Biden. No, you didn't. You're fucking listening to this, and then you're fucking posting it in Vegas chat. And fucking Patrick Rowe sucking Acid Drip's fucking cock for a wrench. Pretty fucking pathetic. And, Alpesh Patel is Shannon, is my name. And I was right about Patrick from the beginning. He came from Shannon's chat. He wanted to say he was in the other Facnomo or whatever. You're in all of them. And I don't know if you caught it last night, and I don't want to put her on the spot, but I went up on Angela's panel last night for a little bit. Yeah, and the fucking Space Ghost or whatever the fuck it was, Space Lord, whatever the fuck is. Oh, I've been in that community. That right there is probably that Ready Kilowatt. That's fucking Kinder. That fucking group. Kept saying I this and I that. So I'll give a shout out to Meatbot. I didn't say you were Patrick Rowe. I think you're Patrick Francis Callahan. That's who I think you are. But then again, I guess you could be Patrick Rowe, but I doubt it. Don't really care, Patrick, New York. You flip-flop back and forth all the time, Patrick. I see you in fucking Acid Drip's fucking chat, sucking up to him. Yeah. I'm not spazzing out like Wiggin is. He's fucking spazzing out over JT and all, just a fucking constant thing with Will Durant. Says he's going to make me go join the new crew. What a fucking idiot you are, Wiggin.
Gift of a $400 billion Boeing 747.
Ain't nobody triggered here. You guys are triggered. Wiggins triggered.
As Air Force One. Opponents say this is
He knows I was telling the truth. Either he did it to fucking think it's going to make me mad, or he's serious. I think he's serious. He's doing it, you know, knowing the difference, and he thinks he's going to trigger me. Well, no, I'll never be back to your chat, Wiggin. You'll never see me come in there, never again. No.
1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Lowe's, we help you save.
You're really not good for business for me. I don't care. You fuckers don't come to my chat. I don't fucking need you.
Here's Steve Hirshhorn of the Hadid
Not monetized.
In the Alexandria section of Fairfax.
If I would monetize, I wouldn't be fucking catering to you fuckers.
Both ways north and southbound between Bellevue Boulevard and Alexandria Avenue because of the ongoing
I don't need your money.
Storm damage all around the Beltway. The outer loop is very slow from George.
JC, you lost the bet in 2020. Fucking fraud.
There in the left lane, westbound 50 and 301, still very slow across the Bay Bridge all the way to the Severn River Bridge.
All you guys can do is block me and talk your fucking crap. Except for Logical and Acid Drip because they're using their spam bots. That's all you got. I don't use the spam bots.
The American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country? Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org. Let's see.
Well, you're not helping Patrick, New York, because I really don't know who you are. I probably do. You're hiding behind that name, Patrick. And then Dougie trying to put a good word in you.
Can you not see us? Nope, they can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local restaurants. You are invisible.
I'm not playing your games because it's fucking romper room, the shit that you guys do. Wiggins, the one he recruited, fucking Acid Drip, and you know he trusted all them fuckers. Demanded that I apologize to Lady Venom. So now we're back to that. My bipolarism is fucking in high gear today.
This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience.
Never seen you on a panel, Patrick.
Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org.
You could be fuck you for all I know.
Making sense of the headlines, making sense of your world. WMAL's Vince Colonnade.
It's not working, Patrick. I'm not impressed by you. I don't know you. You want me to ban you so you can go brag to your friends? Is that what you're trying to do? I'm just going to end the stream here pretty soon.
But when communities and schools is present, students are connected to this.
I'm going to sit and wait for JC to go live, and when she does, I'm going live. And I'm going to sit here and repeat every fucking thing I see in her chat.
Today's students are smart, great thinkers, and innovators.
With my microphone off. I just type it because I'm that fast.
That lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. Learn more at donorschoose.org.
Or I should just ignore it and not even give her a review. I'm not even going to pay attention to what you do in your chat now, JC. I really don't care. Oh, you won't see me there, JC. Not even to troll you.
Making sense of your world online.
You never have impressed me. I'm not impressed by you, Patrick, New York.
There's a lot to scroll through on X,
Not.
on Instagram, on TikTok, on Truth Social.
You're just a punk to me. You really are.
Jump in just a few minutes before to say
You're a punk.
I love the chat interaction. Thank you.
Internet punk. That's all you are.
That I get to scroll with. If you want to listen,
You're afraid of your own face.
search that up, and I will be there. We've got to spread the word far and wide.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Karen Lee. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
75 years of research.
Clarkson.
75 years of policy.
75 years of opportunity.
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Join us at mda75.org.
WMAL, making sense of the headlines because common sense isn't so common. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Now, Joe Biden, not a smart man, not an intelligent man, not a serious man. But we have teams of people like doctors that tend to the president of the United States, and Joe Biden has had a doctor within arm's length for a very long time as vice president of the United States for 8 years. He was a senator before that, and he's not been living under a bridge all these years. And for many years, he's had a Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who turns out is a disgrace to the Irish people. Dr. Kevin O'Connor, Joe Biden's doctor, he traveled with Joe Biden forever, would stay in the hotel room next door to the Bidens when traveling as president of the United States. And there was a story last year, 2024, in the Independent. Meet the White House doctor who greets Joe Biden every morning and who Trump wants to investigate. That's left-wing radical extremist media. They're setting up death camps now. President Joe Biden's historic decision to halt his re-election campaign has not only injected the White House race with an all bets are off invigoration, but also sparked Republican calls for probes into his medical team. Now, this is again from it's Tuesday, the 23rd of July, 2024. And they got a picture of the doctor who doesn't look very impressive walking with Joe Biden at the White House. And America's 46th president marked the decision with a simple, solemn letter. And they go on and on. But then they do Dr. Kevin O'Connor. He's a jovial 58-year-old military physician who's been treating the Biden family for years. And unlike seeing a patient for a yearly physical, Connor's investigated. The Republicans were right again. His office is right across from the elevator from which Biden emerges every day. And the president must pass his doctor's office in the White House every time he goes to and from the Oval, the Oval Office, the president's office. The doctor told military medical podcast War Docs earlier this year. Yeah, now this guy has got to be called on the carpet because he's not the good guy here. And let me say this also, because now we're learning about this lie, this big lie, a huge lie. By the way, President Trump's supposed to get on the horn today with Vlad the Impaler Putin to talk about ending the war against Ukraine. And President Joe Biden never did that. He just, hey, another $60 billion for the military-industrial complex. And then I'll walk by my clueless doctor's office. Here's another guy like that girl at the George Washington University graduation should never get a job in her life. And this doctor should, I got to tell you, Dr. Kevin O'Connor isn't, and he shouldn't be thought of as a medical doctor. But we've been talking about the President Joe Biden's his mental acuity for years as well, right? And now we've got more reason to be concerned about the big lie that is the Democrat Party and the American media, both of whom should never be trusted by anyone with anything ever. But over the weekend, something happened where we had the release of the Robert Hur special counsel interview that Robert Hur did with Joe Biden. And you may recall that he came out and said that he thought that Joe Biden should not be charged with any crimes for destroying and his mishandling of classified documents stored all over the place by his Corvette in the garage and over a steakhouse on Capitol Hill in Washington and leaving classified documents all over. And you may remember that Robert Hur had a line that was widely mocked, but not by the Democrats of the New York Times, that he's just an old man who any jury would find to be sympathetic and sad. So they said that no jury would convict. Special counsel Robert Hur said no jury would convict Joe Biden because he's a poor, doddering old man. Now, a left-wing outfit in town called Axios got a hold of audio tapes. Remember, they refused to release the audio tapes. And it turns out, and I noted, I think it's in our story sheet today, that it was the transcript. They released the transcript of the Hur interview with Joe Biden, but not the audio or the videotapes. And I believe it's on video. We still haven't seen that. But I went and I looked it up, and Just the News, the wonderful John Solomon organization, Just the News, they had the story June 2nd of 2024, almost a year ago now, saying transcript tampering, ? DOJ says written record of Biden interview with prosecutors omitted words. Wait a minute. You mean the lying, corrupt criminals in the Department of Justice omitted words? They changed the transcript to make Biden look better? Even though the Justice Department stated that the transcript was altered, it still contains some repeat and filter and filler words. So they added words, they deleted words from the transcript that they released of the Hur interview with Joe Biden. They didn't release the video, they didn't release the audio, and they did release a transcript that we then later learned had been altered by the Justice Department, which is corrupt under any Democrat who should all probably be in a gulag in El Salvador. Isn't that amazing? And then we learned, because the people at Axios got a hold of some of the audio from the interview. Axios releases audio showing Biden struggling with memory in interview with Robert Hur. Right? Newly released audio from Axios reveals that former President Joe Biden struggled with.
I wish they fucking quit doing that fucking crap. Jesus Christ, I'm getting sick of it.
When his late son Biden died,
fucking ignorant.
When now President Donald Trump was elected president during his first term in office, and other things, Axios reported. So, and this is why they kept and again, these audio tapes, and there are videotapes, I believe, also, that have still not been released. These belong to us, the American taxpayer. These people work for us. Robert Hur works for us. Joe Biden worked for us when the interview was done. And the Department of Justice, the corrupt Department of Justice under Joe Biden, and their corrupt attorney general, their awful, terrible, corrupt attorney general, and corrupt FBI senior officials, they lied to the American people. They deceived the American people. They tricked the American people. And they did so on behalf of the Democrat Party. So that's how you know that they're Democrats. They wanted Joe Biden elected. They wanted Trump to lose. And the American people disagreed. But these people are criminals. These people are literal criminals. And they should be treated as criminals. They should be viewed as criminals for the rest of their lives because they are criminals. Now, let's go to soundbite number 1. Joe Biden talking to Robert Hur. And this is the audio tape, and I believe videotape as well, that they've been withholding from the American people. The transcript released by the Justice Department had been altered to make Joe Biden look less pathetic. And here's Robert Hur talking to Joe Biden about the classified documents in boxes in his garage, behind his Corvette, in above a restaurant just off of Capitol Hill. They still call the neighborhood Capitol Hill. There's a fancy steakhouse downstairs. Joe Biden had some offices that he never went to. Is that where the Chinese had access to it? But nobody else did. And here's Joe Biden with Robert Hur on the classified documents in the boxes.
I'm sure there were. I don't know My problem was I never knew where any of the documents or boxes were specifically coming from or who packed them. It just that I get them delivered to me. And so I'm at this stage in 2009. Am I still vice president?
Am I still vice president? At this stage in 2009, am I still vice president? You don't know what year you were vice president? And again, he's president during this interview. And he doesn't know what year he might have been vice president. And you heard a woman back there very quietly saying, "Yes, Mr. President, you were." So he's getting help with tough questions like when you were vice president of the United States. Isn't that amazing? Man. Mm-mm-mm. The New York Times has a fraudulent headline, quote, "Watch me," end quote. Biden said, but hearing him in her interview is more revealing. Well, maybe the New York Times should have pushed for the videotape to be released or the audio tape to be released, or maybe a transcript that wasn't altered by his corrupt allies in the Justice Department, who should go to a penitentiary for tampering in the presidential election, along with John Brennan, the Communist Party voting CIA director under Barack Obama, who was one of them, and Mike Morrell, former CIA director behind the felonious 51 letter lying to us about the Hunter Biden laptop, which had Joe Biden as the big guy getting 10% from the Chinese. Never mind all that. And CNN lying about it. Audio released of Biden interview with special counsel who described him as an elderly man with a poor memory. And they're still downplaying it. CNN still downplaying it. The New York Times still downplaying it. Their business is to lie to people. It's a sad truth, but it's a truth nonetheless. Robert Herr, talking about the diamond. Number two. Robert Herr shows him photos of the file cabinets with the classified documents. Hey, remember these file cabinets that you fill with classified documents?
And so in these photos, when the file cabinet was here at Chambers Road, what kinds of things were gained?
Everything, I believe, everything from, empty files to I just had files piled. I needed a file.
What?
To, I don't know what else was in there.
Empty files.
I don't.
What? He's looking for help.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. What's in your file cabinets? I don't know. I don't remember. And elderly man with a poor memory. There he is. And then hey, well, you're vice president of the United States. You were a senator. You had classified documents going back to when he was a senator. No authority to take them out of secure facilities on Capitol Hill. But he stole them and brought them and put them in file cabinets next to his car. It's a beautiful car. I'll give him that. They should give me that car. Don't you think they should? And that's just me. That's probably not going to happen, though. But hey, let's say you were working on papers and writing things. What'd you do with those?
Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
What?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying.
Either been deployed or is dying.
And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not, it's not a mean thing to say, man.
Except the president. So I said Barack Obama didn't want me to run. And he can't remember it. His son died in 2015. in May of 2015 at the age of 46, and very sad. He was the good Biden, and amazing stuff. Joe Biden on the Her tapes.
What was happening though, 1 month ago, May 30th, 2015, he died.
He doesn't know.
2015.
He got enough of the months for what he knows.
Yeah.
She's being prompted. She's prompting him rather. Isn't that amazing? Just and then this other video has emerged of Joe Biden back in 2022, and this goes to the prostate cancer issue when he was giving a speech, and he's off script and he's babbling, and he seems to say that he himself has cancer.
The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on the windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer, and why can't for the longest time Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
That's why another point of pride for the state of Delaware under Joe Biden. But didn't he say that's why I have cancer? And that's 3 years ago in 2022. And maybe he knew, and this doctor, and that's so before he was running for president 5 years ago, that this, I got to tell you, our Democrat Party. You know, when a mother with an unplanned pregnancy is deciding what to do about her future and the future of her unborn child, it can be overwhelming, of course, and she wants to make the right choice. But society and a lot of people around her are telling her that that baby is not.
Huh. That's odd. Let me go here. That's weird. Hey, DA, how come you never pick on Logical about catching his feet on fire and needing staples? Yep. He had to have burned his dick, too. He burnt his fucking crotch. Catch your feet on fire that bad, spill something on you, so you need to go and have staples. Enough said. Anybody want to come up on this panel? Go ahead. I'll give you a couple minutes and then I'm leaving. I gotta go do something. Gotta. All right. I see you on the flip side. This is going to be fun.